Hello and welcome back to OK Karma, where I share with you some of the best stories that I find online, and as always, they're read to you by an actual human being, regardless of what this guy thinks. Shit on. Our first story today is titled, Am I the Asshole for Making My Sister's Gender Reveal Cake Gray Because She Wouldn't Tell Me the Gender, from a deleted user. And it says, I, a 23-year-old male, bake as a hobby, and I'm actually pretty good at it. Like, I get paid under the table for weddings and baby showers, kind of good. My sister is pregnant and wanted me to make the cake for her gender reveal. Cool, no problem. I asked her to send me the info so I could prep the inside, classic pink or blue filling. She says, oh no, I want to be surprised too. Just make it neutral for the reveal and we'll all find out together. I was like, huh? So you want a gender reveal cake with no gender revealed? She says she'll have someone email me the info later. And that someone never did. Deadline comes and I still have no gender. So I make the cake. It's gray inside, gray outside, just full on cement vibes. I even added little fondant clouds for effect. It still tasted great, but visually grim as hell. The reveal day comes, they cut into it, and my sister is pissed. Her husband is confused. People start murmuring, and then she pulls me aside like, why would you make it gray? That's so passive aggressive. I calmly reminded her that nobody ever told me the gender. I literally had no data to work with. I told her I wasn't about to guess or go full on improv on someone's baby cake. Now my mom says I embarrassed her in front of the family and that I, quote, should have tried harder. Tried harder to do what? Summon the gender through vibes? So, am I the asshole for making the most neutral reveal cake in history? Independent Cat in the comments says, I'm confused. Did you not take the opportunity to message as the date was coming closer? To tell your sister, hey, I haven't gotten the info on the gender. Can you check on this? In the original poster of the story, responded and said, I actually did follow up and ask her a couple of days before the reveal if the info had been sent. And she just said something like, yeah, someone's taking care of it. I figured it was handled. I didn't want to pester her since she seemed so chill about it at the time. If she really wanted the gender in the cake, she could have double checked too. I was relying on the system that she had set up and it just didn't come through. OK Copy said, why couldn't you have made it yellow and baby themed or something? It seemed pretty vindictive to make the cake a grim cement vibes for an important event where you'd be serving many more people besides your airheaded sister. I understand you were frustrated, but damn, that's all anyone is going to remember from that event now, which is kind of, you're the asshole. And Peony Chalk says, everybody sucks here. Your sister shouldn't be asking for genderless gender reveal cakes. Quote, make it neutral and we'll find out together. Like, what's the point of the cake then? Why not just ask you to make a cake that tastes good and is cute and appropriate for a baby shower? Your sister should have made sure that you had all the info that you needed. You, on the other hand, yes, making it all gray was a dick move. People who choose not to find out the gender ahead of time are typically called Team Green. Green would have been a great color if you didn't know the gender. Yellow is neutral too, so is white. Even orange or red would have been better than gray. You did go full improv on someone else's baby cake and you intentionally made the cake something that you knew she wouldn't like. You also could have followed up with your sister to remind her that you didn't have the info that you needed, and to run your, quote, neutral plan by her first. Not doing those things makes it look like you just wanted to piss her off or even embarrass her. If you didn't want to make the cake because she's not entitled to a cake from you, then you should have just said so. And I'm 100% team everyone sucks here. You would think the sister would be more locked in considering this is one of the most important events of her life, or at least during her pregnancy, but yeah, the OP had to see how this would come off as super passive aggressive and piss a lot of people off. This was just a case of miscommunication, I guess. Someone just needed to pick up the phone and iron these details out way sooner. Our next story is titled, Am I the Asshole for Telling My Wife to Get a Job If She Wants to Subsidize the Kids, by Standard Kick 9789. And it says, up until our youngest kid graduated from university, I worked crazy hours out of town to pay for everything. I worked 6 weeks on of 12-hour days, and then I would get 3 weeks off. That works out to 56 hours a week if you average it out. I've been doing that since I was 35 years old. It allowed my wife to stay at home and take care of the kids and the house. We also used it to pay off our mortgage as well as buy new cars for cash whenever we needed. I'll describe our budget so you guys can judge. After taxes, we used my take home to pay the mortgage and bills. We then paid into the kids' college funds and then into our retirement fund, and then we topped up our retirement account. We put money into our emergency fund, then whatever was left, we split 50-50. Our tax refund was our vacation fund. Now I'm 55 and I'm tired. My body is beat and I need to slow down. Our kids are both through university, both got their degrees and have jobs. I did my part. The company I worked for had a job open for an office job. I applied and got it. It's a 9-to-5 city job, 40 hours a week, better hourly rate plus other compensation. However, it is a lot less money without the overtime. I was getting 44 hours a week of overtime. That's huge. But we have money in the bank and I have an easy stretch until I retire. My wife, however, is upset. Both kids are, quote, struggling. But for the record, they live at home rent-free, but they want cars and apartments of their own. They can afford that. They just won't be getting luxury cars and huge apartments. We no longer have a mortgage, and my wife and I are both driving vehicles purchased in the last 3 years, still under warranty. Our budget no longer has education funds either. We still have more than we need, and my wife and I each have $1,000 each month to spend however we want. I'm saving up for a new garage. My wife has been giving hers to the kids. She's hinting that I should also contribute. I think I've contributed enough. I told her to get a job. She's only 46. She can go to work and give them her salary. I still provide housing and food for all of them, so she won't starve or anything. Her and the kids think that I'm being cruel, and one of the little shits said that I was being lazy by cutting my hours so much. This is my hill to die on. I've done the hard work long enough. I want to enjoy my life. Am I the asshole for telling her to get a job and give them her money? Aromatic Escape commented and said, not the asshole. Your children need to learn to stand on their own 2 feet. How incredibly entitled of them to expect that you continue to fund their lifestyle. What the hell are they using their degrees for? Tell them to grow the hell up and sort out their own lives. Dirty87 also says, not the asshole. Stick to what you said. Enjoy the office job until you retire. I'm blown away that your wife and children are acting so entitled and ungrateful. The nerve of a grown adult living in your house rent-free calling you lazy. That is unacceptable, but it sounds like your wife is also ungrateful. I think her getting a job is the perfect solution. An OK Day said, not the asshole. Let her read all of these comments and make sure that you don't enable those freeloaders any more than she already has. They need a reality check. Enjoy your coast into retirement. You deserve it. And absolutely not the asshole here. Now, while telling the wife to get a job might have come off as asshole-ish, the real problem here is the kids. How old were they again? I think he said through university. All bets are off, dude. Figure it out. They should, at this point, be receiving basically no financial compensation for anything. And in fact, they should be working to probably compensate the parents, especially if they're living at home rent-free. NTA for the OP, but the kids suck. And our last story today is titled, Am I the Asshole for Cutting Off My Son After His Mom Passed Away by UnluckyBit6839. And it says, I have been my son's dad since he was 1. He's 27 now. I was friends with his mom for years before she got pregnant and the bio dad took off. I was around helping her with stuff and one thing led to another and we got together. It wasn't really planned or anything, it just kind of happened. Her and I cared for each other deeply, but it wasn't some huge romantic story. We were in a partnership. We got married when Mark was 3 and I adopted him when he was 5. Tammy took care of Mark, me, and my house. I worked and paid for everything. It was a good life. I had never wanted kids, but I loved Mark and I gave him everything I could. Not just material goods. I was there for him growing up. I attended all of his extracurricular activities that I could. I taught him how to ride a bike and how to change his oil. We took him on vacations. I made sure that when he graduated from university, he was debt-free. He was always a good kid. University changed him. He became distant. He would call to talk to his mom, but not to me. It turns out he met a girl who had been adopted and she had baggage that she decided to share with him. He had contacted his biological father and I was being displaced. Mark was everything to Tammy and she supported him in everything. As his mom, I would expect no less, but it still hurt to be cut out of his life. When Tammy got sick, Mark and I would see each other when he came over to see her, but we would barely talk. When she passed away, I saw him at the funeral and then only heard from him to settle her estate, which was not much. She had a very small life insurance policy that she left Mark and everything else was mine. Her bank account only had the money that we budgeted for her. There wasn't much in it because she had been subsidizing Mark's life since he graduated. Like clockwork, every month I would deposit her share of our budget and most of it went to him. Tammy and I had a separate life insurance policy that we set up. It was more substantial than the other one. We originally set them up in case anything happened to us, the other could have money to live and take care of Mark. I was the beneficiary since I was paying for it. Now that his mom is gone and not helping pay his bills, Mark is calling me for help, and I said no. I said he had the money from his mom's life insurance. Everything else is quite literally mine. Even the car that she drove was leased by me. He is upset with me and said that I obviously had never thought of him as a son if I was willing to do this. I told him to ask his bio dad for help since that's who he wanted in his life. His wife, Sarah, the girl from university, called me and said that I would be cut out of their lives and that I would never see my grandchildren. They don't have kids yet, but I suppose they're planning on a family. I told her that I was okay with that. And I am. I miss Tammy, but I'm okay. I have my dogs and my job. I see my sisters and their kids and grandkids. I'm involved in their lives. So am I the asshole for cutting off financial support to a full-grown man with a job and a wife? Abel Stays says, Mark is now entering the F around and find out phase. Maybe he shouldn't have cut his dad out at the behest of his girlfriend. Imagine expecting to be subsidized at the age of 27 and talking about having kids when you can't even afford the cost of living for 2 adults. Lena A says, love shouldn't be transactional, and it's actually very toxic to make it so. Not the asshole. And honestly, even if OP had done something wrong to his son that he's not revealing in the post, his son is a grown-ass adult, married, and clearly planning to start a family. He and his wife should be the ones responsible for their financial stability, not the man he has clearly distanced himself from. And Jahub says, I can understand Mark wanting to know his biological dad, but he could have done that while still maintaining a relationship with the dad who raised him. It didn't have to be a mutually exclusive thing. If all he wants is financial help, you're not wrong to tell him to ask his biological dad for that. Mark is an adult. If he's old enough to be married, he's too old to expect an allowance. And yeah, I love what the last comment said about the biological dad. If Mark reestablished a relationship with him, that guy's got some serious back taxes to catch up on. So ask him for help. Hell, the biological dad might actually appreciate the opportunity to make up for lost time by helping his son when he, quote, really needs it. But yeah, Mark is way too old for this. Asking for help is one thing, but expecting some allowance every month at 27 is kind of crazy. Well, it seems like the theme today was spoiled kids and cake. But as always, if you guys enjoyed these stories and my readings of them, please feel free to leave a comment letting me know what you thought. Like the video and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time.